All right, we're good to go, everybody.
Okay.
We're doing something weird.
All right, here we go.
This is the first on Timcast IRL.
They're taking over.
They're taking Tim.
They're taking. Are we still on the air, or have they already taken
They're
over?
going to steal us in just
All right.
1 second,
You
Jason.
heard it here, you guys.
Oh.
We're still on the air.
Oh, snap. Let me show you guys what's going on. I think we're off now. We've given them the stream.
Oh, yes, we have.
I gave them control.
Look at this. All right, the suspense was killing me because I'm like, I don't know when they're actually going to call me in. If you can hear me, I don't know what's going on. We're walking through the Daily Wire's headquarters. I got Joe Biden behind me, and we are making our way to the backstage live studio with Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Andrew Klavan, Matt Walsh, and Jeremy Boring. And I wrote they're going to take over my show, but I'm going to take over theirs. So we're making our way through the studio right now. I think I can hear people. Let's see if we can pull this off effectively. I smell cigars. Coming around the corner, I'll be a little out of breath. Fun, huh? All right, here we go.
The thing is that you can,
Hey, what is this?
Hey,
They just let anybody in here?
oh my God. What's security? I thought we had security in.
No, I beat all of them. And I'm gonna be.
You're going to hang out with us?
Absolutely, sir.
Hey, that's
Wow,
fun.
great.
And actually, you guys are taking over my show at the same time.
Are we live right now?
We're on Tim
Timcast?
Pool's show, right?
You are all my guests on Timcast IRL right now.
Wow.
I couldn't fit all of your names in the title, so I just went with Ben Shapiro.
Wait a minute.
That's fair. That's the only one that's going to get you the
first
audience.
Nice set, dude.
Oh, thank you.
You did a nice job with this.
This is way better. But we're in a trailer out in your alley.
Yeah, people don't realize that Tim has been broadcasting from our hill all week from a fifth wheel trailer that he converted into a mobile studio. And tonight he's going to learn how God feels about it, because we have thunderstorms coming through Nashville in 45 minutes, and he'll still be broadcasting from
Tim,
the most dangerous place in America to be in.
Welcome to my show, everybody.
Oh, good to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is the best lineup of guests I've ever had on Timcast IRL.
I really like being on your show from here, because when I go on your show from the hinterland, I got to drive an hour through the woods with serial
It's like
killers.
the Texas Chainsaw Man.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It's like, yeah.
It's a cool house.
Your security guy almost gave me a heart attack as I was walking out. I walk out in the dark of night, and this guy goes, "Hi."
Well, it's funny when we've invited some left personalities who already have apprehension, and then they get really scared because, it's Western Maryland, but it's the middle of nowhere. It's like the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yep.
And you drive through pitch black, and then you have to drive up a long, it's about 1,500 feet driveway.
And there are security deer everywhere.
They're ready to pound.
Well, when you're driving up in the dead of night and your lights are on, all of a sudden you see glowing eyes everywhere. And then you're like, I think most people are fine with it. In the summer, it's fine. It's still day out when you arrive.
That's true.
Well, what were you guys talking about before I interrupted?
We were talking about 2024 and what we think is going to happen, and we were sort of positing the thesis that Democrats are so wildly out of tune with the American public right now that Republicans look pretty good, but they could make the mistake of taking their eye off the ball, which brought up the inevitable T word, right? Of course, which is Trump and whether he runs.
Oh, yeah. I think so, but isn't it starting to feel like DeSantis might be?
Your mouth to God's ears, my friend.
I will say that Trump saying, I think just this last week, that his health would be a factor in making the decision, is the first time that he said anything that in any way left him an out not to run.
Yeah.
And in many ways, he has a lot to lose.
I agree.
If he runs. There's always going to be an asterisk beside his 2020 loss. If he were to run and lose in 2024, you remove the asterisk. And so,
and all the prosecutions that they're threatening with is clearly political.
Now that makes me want him to run. Keep playing dirty.
No, I don't think so, because I think that he could actually be hurt financially by those if he runs. If he doesn't run, they won't. I have this sense, everybody keeps telling me I'm wrong. Everybody who knows Trump tells me I'm wrong. I have this sense he's not going to run, that he's staying relevant. He's raising money off his, the hints that he's going to run. But I just don't think there's enough in it for him. And he's old.
Well, I always like to tell you you're wrong. So.
No.
To your point, Drew, that the prosecutions could hurt him, that this is the problem, that the powers that be are powerful.
Yes,
and they
yes.
can actually wield that power and really hurt you.
But why is DeSantis not in the same vein as Trump?
Well, he doesn't run if Trump runs, I think.
I think
I'm beginning to doubt that's true.
Really?
I'm beginning to doubt that's true. And the reason that I'm beginning to doubt that's true is because I think that what DeSantis, like most good politicians, understands is there is a time.
Yeah.
Right. This is something that Jeremy and I have discussed a bunch of times before, which is that there are certain politicians where it's like if they had grabbed the moment, it would have been their moment. And if they miss the moment, they're toast. And this happened with, for example, Elizabeth Warren in 2016. If she had jumped in 2016 and not let Hillary Clinton foreclose her, she would have been the Bernie figure in that race, and she would have stolen a lot of thunder from Hillary Clinton being the first presidential woman nominee.
Chris Christie in 2012.
Right, Chris Christie in 20. Like, there are certain periods where if you go for the brass ring and you grab at it, it's your moment. And then if you miss it, it's just gone.
And also the other thing is, I think DeSantis understands that in the primary in 2016, Republicans running against Trump, they either just ignored him and didn't attack him at all, which was a mistake, or they attacked him basically from the left, and they said that, well, I don't like his attitude. It makes me uncomfortable. I think Trump is vulnerable, and what DeSantis probably understands, although I don't know him, is that if you can go at Trump from the right, and you can say, you can hit Trump on vaccines, you can hit him on Fauci, you can hit him on COVID, and I think...
Yeah. I actually think the best path for DeSantis, as you said, we're still 2 years away from this, but if DeSantis were to choose to challenge Trump, I actually think his best path is not to hit Trump. I think his best path is essentially to say, Mr. President, I voted for you. There's no question in my mind that you are the man we needed in 2016. The question is, are you the man that we need in 2020?
But Trump's not going to allow that.
Right.
That's what they tried in 2016, and then eventually Trump will turn around and
call
go
you-
after
say your
you,
wife's
and
ugly.
you're right. You're just sitting there. You're not prepared for it. So I think you have to be more proactive. You don't have to be obsessive about it, but you
But
make
I
your argument
agree with you that
from the right.
I agree with you that a lot of Trump's appeal in 2016, because I felt this way when he was debating Jeb Bush, is that he just kept pummeling the guy who was more to the center. And Jeb Bush would be like, I'm really uncomfortable with how you talk about illegal immigration. And Trump would be like, you're stupid. Like, yeah! And there's a lot of that.
I feel like I have a different perspective from you guys because, for one, look how I'm dressed compared to you guys. I do think, in all honesty, though, I come from kind of a different world. I grew up in Chicago, and I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I don't think everybody here did. Did you guys?
No, I did not.
I did.
I did not vote for either.
In 2020, I've just been seeing over the past decade what I would describe as the left being so unreasonable and just out of their minds. I'm sitting with a group of prominent conservatives, and this is not how I grew up.
Yep.
I grew up in Chicago, surrounded by Democrats. And now I'm looking at 2024, and I would vote for DeSantis. I didn't like Trump in 2016. I voted for him because I know Biden, because I knew the Obama administration.
You voted for him in 2020.
2020, sorry.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
In 2020, I voted for Trump. I liked that he didn't start new wars. I liked the Abraham Accords. I liked school choice. And I did not like wokeness because I think it's an affront to all of the civil rights battles that have been fought. Now we see DeSantis in Florida, and everything he's doing speaks to me. Not everything, but a lot of it. So I don't know if I would vote for Trump. I didn't necessarily want to vote for him in the first place.
No.
Well, this is, I think, the biggest issue for Trump, and that is that my theory of elections is that elections are oppositional, and whoever the election is a referendum on loses. So in 2016, the great myth that the media tried to create is that it was a referendum on Trump. And it was not a referendum on Trump. It was a referendum on Hillary Clinton. People looked at Hillary, and they're like, I hate that lady. She's awful. She's garbage. And I don't know this Trump guy. He's real weird.
This is
he
how
says dumb
Trump-
stuff, but I'll take a shot at it.
That's right. This
And you
is
see
how
in
Trump
the
can
polls.
get fewer votes in Wisconsin than did Mitt
Romney in
Romney 4 years
2012,
earlier.
that's right,
And still win
the state.
Wisconsin.
Correct.
Because the election was really about Hillary. And
Right.
Democrats
And
were
then-
like, eh.
And then by 2020, Joe Biden ran what for him was, I think, the only campaign he could run, but it turned out to be kind of a brilliant campaign, which is he just lay in a basement for 6 months. And every so often they would creak open the crypt, he'd walk out and say, and then he'd go back downstairs, and that would be the end of his campaign. And so the referendum was not on Biden, the referendum was on Trump. You go to 2024, if Trump runs again, the question is, I'm not sure who that's a referendum on. Is it on Biden or is it on Trump? Right? That's a real question because they're now really, really prominent figures. If it's anybody but Trump, it's hard for it not to be a referendum on Biden. He's been president for the last 4 years, and he's done. I'm honest to God, I'm amazed he's been able to set this many things on fire for a man who's not ambulatory.
There's a tactic DeSantis is using, a rhetorical tactic that I think every Republican needs to adopt. The old Republican view of things, when they were asked a question, what do you want for breakfast in the morning? Let's say, hey, Senator Rand Paul, what do you want for breakfast? You'd say, well, some people want omelets and some people want pancakes. And the great thing about America is we can have whatever we want for breakfast, right? And it's this very sort of ambiguous thing. And you ask DeSantis, what do you want for breakfast? He goes, look, we tried pancakes in Arkansas, and we tried omelets, and we're going to have scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs work in Florida, and they're going to work throughout America. Okay? And there's no question or ambiguity. It's very persuasive.
Well, let me ask you, is Joe Biden even going to run in 2024?
I mean, I think they have to. I think they have to strap him to a gurney. They have to turn him upright, and they have to just wheel him around because they have to. What are they going to do? They're going to trot out Kamala Harris, the worst candidate who has ever been created by God or man. It's unbelievable.
He will not be able to speak at all.
So it doesn't matter.
82 years old.
What are you going to do? Kamala Harris is the best description I've heard is from the account JTLOL, which is that she is the human embodiment of a predictive text program. You start typing words into Google, and whatever is the next word is what she says. And so the importance of the passage of time is important with regard to the passage of time. And so she's terrible. And then then they're like, oh, well, we've got this other guy over here, and he's so great that he went on paternity leave for 2 months, and nobody even noticed. He couldn't fill a pothole in South Bend, Indiana, but on the other hand, he is gay. I mean, and that's literally the pitch for Steve Buttigieg.
I just think that's an impossible. First of all, I like that. Kamala Harris, to me, she's always like I was in high school when I have to give a book report, but I didn't read the book. Like, that's what she always sounds like. But that you run into just a simple fact of age. So are you going to run a guy who'll be 82, right? And so by the end of his term, he's 86. That's just like an impossible.
Well, they don't have to get him to the end of his term. They just have to get him to.
Yeah, I don't.
But for the purpose of running, they have to pretend that he's going to make it to the end of the term.
Yeah, I don't think.
No, he didn't pretend he was going to make it to the end of the term this time. Right? He basically.
The problem that they have, the reason I think they have to run him, and I think that the base doesn't care if he's still cogent.
No, the base doesn't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
The reason they have to run him is Kamala. They would like to sub him out with Buttigieg. They might even like to sub him out if we are making moves towards Trump with Hillary Clinton, which would be their great revenge fantasy playing out. But the problem is that there is a sitting vice president. And how do you get her to just move aside and let you do that?
Well, but
the only way is if they do have one trump card, right? Which is that they could theoretically call him Michelle, right? That is clearly their best move. That is their best move. Because that is a black woman VP. You just say, listen, there's this other black woman, and she's more famous than you, and she's more popular than you, and she's a best-selling author, and we have now softened her image to the point where she's not the radical who is writing Princeton theses about how America's racist.
Everybody wants to be president.
She might not be. She likes being Oprah. She likes being Oprah. She's very popular.
Oprah wants to be president.
Oprah would. That's a better.
Everyone wants to be president. Listen, Michelle Obama is the nuclear
option. No question. No question.
Why wouldn't they use her?
I think they would love to use her. I think the only question is whether she and Barack want to have his, if she were to run and lose, whether this would tarnish the Obama magisterial image that he's created for himself. And that guy loves him. I mean, Obama loves him some Obama. I mean, when he came to the White House, that was...
It's one of the sorriest displays I've ever seen.
It really was. It was the first time...
Sorry.
It actually did. I can't believe what it says. It made me feel bad for Biden.
Oh,
it did. Almost. I mean, he walks up on stage and he makes a joke about how he's Barack Obama's vice president. And then Barack Obama gets up and is like, well, yeah, over there's my vice president. It's like, you don't get to make that joke. That makes you a dick. I mean,
the two things that were most on display in that entire episode were, one, what a sorry bastard Barack Obama is. And if you read Maureen Dowd during his administration, she hated him for his treatment of Joe Biden as his vice president. Biden was this completely loyal, subservient even vice president. And Obama treated him like absolute dirt the entire time. So you just see how his view of himself and his view of people around him. And then the other sorry thing is you saw the media's view of him. You know, that horrible clip where Biden realizes that no one wants to talk to the president of the United States. Because they're all talking to Barack Obama.
He's got his hand on Obama's shoulder and Obama's shaking him off to shake hands over here.
You just realize
all he wanted was somebody to guide him to the bathroom.
That's right.
That's all he wanted.
The media genuinely believes that Barack Obama is a deity, and Barack Obama agrees with them. That's what was on display to me.
Did Joe Rogan say something to that effect about Michelle Obama? And I don't want to put words in Joe's mouth, but he mentioned something about Barack Obama being a great president or something to that effect, and Michelle Obama being a potentially great option. I think he's relevant for one, having the biggest podcast in the world, but I think he speaks to a lot of people who are in the middle and confused or don't necessarily know how they're going to vote come 2022 and 2024. But I think if these people, the moderates, independents, former left people see Michelle Obama, I think a lot of them will be convinced to vote Democrat again. I'm not entirely convinced. For me, my brain exploded after 2020 with just, I'm done with this. Or 2018 even, when I think it was 31 seats that districts that voted for Trump, vote Democrat, And all of these moderate Democrats said, we're going to bring you kitchen table issues. We're not going to focus on culture war issues. And the first thing they do is they move to impeach Trump. And it felt like I was just spit on. I was like, I had faith that if I just, push back, I donated to some of these Democrats thinking that they'll actually reconfigure things and fix this. And they only made it worse.
The only thing I think that could really harm Michelle Obama if she were to run is I think that she really has ideologically, she always has been very radical. And I think that she will re-embrace wokeness because she too is in that bubble. I think the most, ironically, the thing that we complain the most about is probably the thing that may save the republic, and that is the media bias. The media bias is so strong that Democrats do not understand that there's an entire world outside of the Beltway that just thinks they're crazy. And so the reason that you see the White House saying things like, well, it's very important that we use the DOJ to crack down on people stopping little girls from being turned into little boys. The reason they say that is because the New York Times agrees with them, and the Washington Post agrees with them, and everybody they know agrees with them.
The other thing about Michelle Obama is that she's attractive to people, I guess, not to me, but to people as like an idea. But if she's running for office, then she's actually going to have to be out there talking. And when you listen to her talk, kind of to your point about how radical she is, but also she's just really a kind of a vile human being. I'll never forget this story she told on a podcast somewhere about when she experienced racism. Like she was still harboring this resentment because she went to get ice cream and a white woman didn't notice her and cut in front of her. And she told this whole story about how she was a victim of racism as the first lady of the United States because a white woman was getting ice cream before her.
Well, there's that story that she told about how she went to the grocery store and she was tall, so somebody asked her to take something down from the top shelf.
Exactly.
She said that was racism. It's like, no, you're just tall. I mean,
So
I'd ask Matt to get something from the top shelf for me. I mean,
But who are the voters who fall for that stuff?
Yeah,
I
agree with you, Tim. I think that Michelle Obama, I don't think she would run, but I think that she is a good candidate if she runs. But the voters are not as enamored of identity politics as the Democrats are. In no way are they.
Well, the poll about the parental rights and education bill in Florida has overwhelming support from Democrat voters, who were polled at the very least. Yet they double down on this stuff. It's like you were saying, the media bias is palpable. I don't know if you guys saw CNN Plus only has 10,000 daily active users. Wow.
Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoy Chris Wallace's new show, What Have I Done? I think.
By the way, who was the business genius at Warner who was like, okay, so we have CNN and no one watches it. What if we take the same hosts and we put them behind a paywall doing more boring things? I mean, how does this go wrong here, guys? Well, this seems like a genius business plan to me.
Well, they're essentially giving you money every time you don't watch CNN. Make money. I like it.
I will tell you guys something interesting, though, because Matt and I were talking about this the other day when I asked you, why is it the Daily Wire is 600,000 plus subscribers? CNN can't even get 10,000 daily users. You mentioned mission, I think is what you said, right? Mm-hmm. When I worked
I said me. I said the reason is me, and then
the number two reason.
He did say that. He said he was better than everybody. When I was working for these big corporate media outlets, I was at a company called Fusion, which is ABC News and Univision. They said mission-driven storytelling. That was their line as to what their goals were. It's almost like they were either predicting or wanting politics to be the main driver of what was going to bring people to different media outlets. The only issue is I felt like their narratives were built on lies and manipulation. We have to withhold information from people, trick them, feed them only the information we want. Whereas I feel like with what you guys do, with what we do, it's here's everything, let's argue about it.
Yep. Well, that's what I love about this show that we get to do once a month is that we quite often disagree. And those disagreements, I think, are central to what makes the Daily Wire work. I think at the core of the Daily Wire's success is our fundamental religious difference. That we talked about it today, in fact, that our fundamental religious disagreement means that central to our friendship is the idea that there's not ubiquity or that there's not unanimity in our thought. And it's not that we don't have a strong perspective as a company. It's not that we don't have a strong, that we don't have a side in the fight, but it's that we are actually engaged in the exchange of ideas and trying to always learn more and know more and be better. Tim, thank you for coming on uninvited. Please feel free to invite yourself on the show again in the future. Thank you to all of our dailywire.com members for making this possible. We're going to wrap up because there's a thunderstorm rolling in. This guy's got to get back to his tornado bait trailer, and Ben Shapiro has to get on an airplane and get out of here. Head over to dailywire.com/subscribe. Use promo code BuildTheFuture. You still have 23 hours left to become a member at 45% off. We'd really appreciate you being a member. We appreciate our members making it possible for us to do the work that we're doing, including fighting woke Disney. So thanks again. We'll see you next week. We'll give you a fake laugh. I don't know, one of these days.
Should I just run out the door now?
Yeah, you should leave.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
There in the earlier part of the show, they were talking about Trump, DeSantis, and who was going to run. And then they kind of parlayed the conversation into the Democrats and who they thought was going to run for the Democrats. I thought that Ben Shapiro made a very interesting point about populism when he mentioned Michelle Obama and running a populist candidate. I'm interested to see what you guys think about that.
The Michelle Obama question, that part of the discussion is what fascinated me, because I do think she would probably be the best candidate for the Democrats. I do think, again, corporate media is obsessed with, so-and-so's making history because they're the first black woman this, just like we just saw with Ketanji Brown Jackson. And so people they're fascinated by participating or witnessing history. And it's like when Barack Obama first ran in 2008, I think a lot of people voted because this is a history-making deal, and I want to be on the record that I voted for Barack Obama, and it's proof that I'm not racist.
It's got the history building, and they've spent a lot of years curating Michelle Obama's image, and having the last name Obama is just going to be huge in the realm of politics. So yeah, she is the nuclear option for sure.
We had parlayed what you guys were talking about with populism, and I liked how Ben brought up Michelle Obama. I think we may have had an audio technical glitch in the first part, and then it seemed to smooth out.
It worked.
Yeah, you guys got it the
worked
first
out.
time, and it's all about it. When you have a new piece of technology, a new cool idea, you try it, and if it fails, you try it again, and you do it, and then you get it right. And that's what we're
That was
doing
fun.
here.
Yeah,
That looked
good,
great.
that's
I could
great,
run
yeah.
through the rain.
Yeah, you're
and,
kind of
make
damp
it in
now.
and hang out with those guys. Cigar smoke everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.